This is the Nightwolf howling at you, and today we're going to take a look at the Masterverse, Masters of the Universe, New Eternia version of King Randor. On the front of the box, though, we do see him fighting against some creatures of some sort that we haven't seen before. If we turn to the side, we do see Marlena in her spacesuit, and actually, now look at it, there's the crashed ship behind them. Actually, this image kind of makes me think this might be related to Whiplash. I do actually hope we get a Marlena in this line. Although, now this has me wondering, because we got that little bit of gray in his beard. Like, how old is he and her? I mean, if she's an astronaut, she's probably in her late 20s, early 30s. And then on the other side, we get an image of King Grayskull with no hair. And King Randor with no hair. And then a close-up of his head with the crown and his full head of page boy hair. And of course, on the back of the box, we do see our product shot with him holding his sword and scepter thing. It does appear that you can put his scepter and sword together to create a single weapon, a pole sword, basically. And of course, we have King Randor, the heroic ruler of Eternia. King Randor leads his royal forces across New Eternia, searching for the lost power of Greyskull and spreading good across the planet, earning him the nickname, the King Abroad. As part of this wave, we have King Randor, Roboto, and Beastman. And is that Beastman supposed to be a New Eternia figure, or is that supposed to be an updated vintage? No, that can't be vintage style. It's a little too detailed. Anyway, let's open this sucker up, shall we? I don't know why that was so difficult, but that was weird. Here on the side, we see the outlines of King Randor, his sword, scepter, and his crown, and a helmet. I absolutely loathe when they use tape to hold the cloth goods in place. I mean, it is better than the little tabby things that they sometimes use too, but still. I don't know, let's go ahead and take a look at King Randor's bald ass head here. He definitely has some gray in his beard. His head looks kind of tiny, to be honest. But I mean, the head sculpt itself actually does look pretty good overall. Then of course we have his helmet, which kind of has like the crown design in it already, a little, and then of course the crown with the hair. It does fit on pretty nicely, and we can move the head around without it flopping around too badly. So I'm sure that's not very well in focus. Now let's swap out for the other one. So this would kind of be like going for more of the vintage look, I guess. I'm not sure actually which one I would prefer to use, I guess, to be honest with you. The helmet version definitely gives us more of that warrior vibe, which, considering how heavy duty his armor looks in this case, probably is the way to go. It is kind of funny, though, they actually did go ahead and still use the same kind of color scheme that we had on the vintage figures. Oh, wow, look at that. It looks like his leg armor is actually designed to pop off, too. So you get a regular boot there. And apparently I cannot get it back on now. There we go. That was awkward. cloth goods cape, which is nice. I do prefer the cloth good capes to the other ones. And here's the reason why I hate when they use the tape, because there's always tape residue left over, so it sticks to itself. Here we have his sword. I actually really like this design for the sword. And then we have the scepter. And of course, as mentioned before, we combine the two together into a pole sword. At least that's what I'm calling it, because it resembles what I get in Naraka. Articulation wise, this should be interesting, because I'm kind of curious as to how the head works with the equipment on it. So we do get our standard kind of chicken neck that we've been getting with Masterverse. It's hard to get him to look down because of the armor here and his beard. Hard to get him to look up too, to be honest. We can turn to the side. The helmet mostly stays on place when you're doing that, but it can shift a little bit. So if we go ahead and we swap out for his royal hairdo, his royal toupee wig. Again, we can turn the head. Actually, it does turn easier than with the crown or the helmet, because I think, you know, the hair is shorter than the helmet is, so we get that spin real good. For the arms, we can hinge up. Although this the shoulder armor here does definitely have some interference in there. And actually, now that I look at this, he's got a similar setup here as the Thunder Punch He-Man had, where it looks like he's got a brace on his arm. So that's interesting. All right, so the armor here is attached to this brace, which goes up to his wrist there, and that armor is part of that. That, of course, will affect some of the articulation, and if you move it a little bit, you can kind of get that not to interfere with his head. Although that's still going to be real painful. These oversized shoulder bits just seem kind of ridiculous. I mean, I guess it looks good, but practicality, not quite there. We do have a bicep cut and a double jointed elbow. Spin at the wrist. His hand has an up and down articulation on this side, in and out on this side, which is interesting. Also to note, this is like the first Masterverse figure in a while that did not come with extra fists. Let's see. I want to take his armor off. He does appear to be using a standard Masterverse He-Man body. We can see some more. Oh, shit. I hope that was supposed to come out. And that's not. Well, I think it was supposed to be glued on, but not very well on that side. But the cape is attached to the armor. I like, they've got the little, I don't know what that's actually called. Does anybody know what that's called? The cord. I think there's a specific name for it. I might have to re-glue that, the one clasp, though. Also to note, I mean, they added some highlighting red paint on the armor as well as the gold. So it actually looks really nice. We do have a spin at the waist. Although the armor sits low enough here on his body that you can kind of feel it pressuring when you move it. You know what I mean? We don't have any cuts in the loincloth skirt piece, though. So let's see what we can get. We got a surprisingly good amount of kick there. At least front and side. Front goes forward pretty good, yeah. And the back goes pretty good. Almost doing the splits. I'm surprised. I honestly wasn't expecting it to be that functional, but it is. We have the thigh cut. We have the drop down hips. And of course, a double joint. This top part of the knee, though, is super loose on this figure. And super loose on this side of the figure, too. Whereupon the bottom part doesn't want to move at all. Now we should probably reattach his head. So we have Randor with this. Oh, shit. Forgot about that. We have the boot cut, too, which... What did I do to his leg? Hold on. Okay. There we go. We have the boot cut still. God. So ever since I took that off, now that armor just like keeps sliding about. It's annoying. There is a hinge at the foot here too. And a spin. Although the armor on the shin does affect it. My recommendation, if you get this figure, don't remove the guards. But yeah, okay, so we got his sword and his scepter together. So we have King Randor, the roaming king of Eternia. And with our swords combined, and now we have King Randor, the badass warrior king of Eternia. So I'm just going to say, outright, I like this figure a lot more than I would have expected. Not too fond of the bald head, but, you know, whatever. Hopefully we get Marlena Glenn in this series. I'm going to hope that that picture is, in fact, some foreshadowing. We did get her in Classics, but that's the only time we've gotten a Marlena figure, really. And that one was okay, not great, but I'd like to see something done better. I will bet, though, that if they do give us a Marlena, they're going to give us a deluxe one where you can do the astronaut version or the queen version again, which also means that her spacesuit will probably end up being green instead of white, or maybe they'll give her a white dress instead of a green dress. If it's New Eternia, the white dress actually would probably work out pretty well, to be honest with you. So overall, like I said, I like this figure. I like him a lot more than I expected to when I saw him. I gotta say, being able to hook the scepter and the sword together like that as a single weapon is pretty cool. I like it. I think that's a great effect. The two head sculpts are nice. This figure actually would not be bad to have displayed as both versions, you know. But let me know what you guys think in the comments below. I'm curious as to if you guys want to get this figure to add to your Masterverse collection. And if you enjoyed this review, please feel free to slice that like button. And you can, of course, watch more of my nonsense by subscribing. I thank you for watching. Peace and love.